In the heart of downtown, the old Chatterbox of the 50s and 60s is now the new Chatterbox, and it didn't take long for the community to welcome it back.
The Chatterbox has only been open for 2 weeks, but they already have regulars. You can become one of their regulars. Come here and try a couple of different things. For one thing, you can get a monster BLT, and I'm telling you, it is really a monster BLT because it has on it 1 pound of bacon. I ordered one and I ingested just about 20 minutes ago a full pound of bacon, and I do it again. It was incredibly good. You can also come here and have Eggs Benedict with real hollandaise sauce, homemade hollandaise sauce, all sorts of things. It's an old building with a new feel to it. When you come through Canastota, make it a point to drop in.
Back home, just trying to find my way back home. Just trying to find my way back home.
So, I just had a pound of bacon at the Chatterbox. I thought, what the heck, afterward, let's go across the street to Dunn's Bakery and have something else to help my cholesterol-free diet. So, I ordered a homemade donut, but I was told by Barb that it's really called a fry cake. They're homemade right here on the premises. And this place has been here for 5 generations. You come in and you're going to have some homemade recipes for all of your baked goods that you might buy here. Interesting thing is that the bakery was originally across the street where the Chatterbox is now. So it's kind of a very tightly knit community, and let's see how this fry cake or donut is. Crispy on the outside, moist on the inside. Be sure to get yourself a dozen or 2 of these things when you come to town.
Go with your bacon.
You go with your bacon? These are good. Wow. You hear that? Barb says, I can stop off at the United Hospital on the way home. I think I'm going to have to. I had a BLT for lunch. I probably should have had an onion on it because Canastota was one time known as the onion capital of the world. Of course, then it would have been a Bolt, a B-O-L-T, a bacon, onion, lettuce, and tomato, whatever. We have gone to many, many post offices on our travels, and we stopped at the one here in Canastota, and sure enough, there was one of the murals on the wall. It's behind me here. You may recall from earlier shows, we've talked about how FDR, as a part of his arts project, had murals painted throughout post offices in the entire country. The one here is called the Onion Pickers. And if you're out for a ride and want to mail something, make it a point to stop here in Canastota to see this absolutely charming mural of the Onion Pickers.
You can always wish upon a star.
Although Canastota is famous for many things, most of the world knows it as the site of the International Boxing Hall of Fame. And because Canastota was home to 2 world champion title boxers, many know it as Titletown.
Well, this is a boxing town, 100 years of boxing history, high school boxing teams way back to the bare knuckle days of boxing in the 1800s. Then in the 1950s, Carmen Basilio puts Canastota on the boxing map, becomes a world champion. Then he beats Ray Robinson for the middleweight title. His nephew, Billy Backus, became a champion in 1970. We had a fighter named Dickie DeVeronica ranked in the top 10. We've had amateur fighters, 100 years of boxing history. We love boxing in Canastota. So this is the place for the Boxing Hall of Fame to be, and it started in 1989. We're celebrating the 20th year of the Boxing Hall of Fame here in Canastota, and it's worldwide recognized, and it's the place to be if you're a sports fan. If you love boxing, Canastota is the place to be. I personally was born and raised in the village of Canastota, so I grew up around boxing talk, whether it was my uncles, my father, whoever it was in the coffee shops, they talked boxing. And Carmen Basilio, you always heard of your hero, Carmen Basilio. Then I was fortunate. I lived next door to Billy Backus, so I was able to go to the boxing gym, watch him train, go to his world title fight, sit in his corner, so it was a thrill for me. Boxing is a special sport, and during the induction weekend and throughout the year, boxing fans come to Canastota because they enjoy not only the learning of the history of the sport, recalling the memories, but when they meet the champions, there's no other sport that like boxing that the champions are so grateful of their time giving autographs and photos and telling stories. So it's the magic between the fans and the celebrities that happen in Canastota.
To see what we can see.
This is the most historic artifact in boxing history. It is the ring from Madison Square Garden. Now, Madison Square Garden has been all over the place in 3 different locations. Wherever it was located, though, this ring went with it. For 82 years, this was the battlefield of some of the greatest fights, including the historic fight of March 8th of 1971. Do you remember where you were on that date and what the fight was? It was the fight of the century between Ali and Frazier, and it took place in this very ring. Every Friday night, my grandmother and I would be sitting, actually it was in the dining room where we had our TV, a little tiny black and white about this big, and we'd be sitting there waiting for the fights to come on, and the 2 of us with some Pepsi-Cola and a box of very thin pretzels, and we'd wait for this every Friday night. And that began our night.
Don't forget, Ed Brophy presents the Canalside Talk, hosted by the Canaltown Museum, tomorrow night at 7 o'clock on Canal Street in Canastota.